Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Tyr
What up?
and Adam.
Salve.
How are both of you doing this evening?
I'm good, for the most part.
Oh, that's good to hear. How about yourself, Adam?
I gotta say this week went by very fast. I don't know about you two.
It absolutely did for me as well, because I was off this past week and just enjoying not having to do shit when it came to work.
Oh.
Yeah, I know how that feels, but I wasn't off, so I had to work, so I was unhappy.
Yep.
No, well, I guess I'm in between. Okay, not like that, but I had to go to work all week, but we really didn't have work because we didn't have anything to work on. So we were just playing Uno all the time.
So in other words, you had a free week.
I guess so. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. It was just a weird week. But hey, Sangs. What did you make for dinner?
Tonight's dinner is going to be a salmon curry, which
Ooh.
I was just telling Tyr that I made a rookie mistake with part of this. I had just ground up some Thai chilies and some Szechuan chilies with a little blender or herb grinder, and I made the mistake of forgetting once you do that, you let your spices sit for a moment before you open the grinder. So what I did was I wanted to check to see that I had added enough chili that smelled spicy enough. Cracked open the top immediately after I finished the grinding. Stuck my nose over the top and gave a nice big... And I snorted all of the still aerosolized chili powder straight up into my nose.
Oh shit!
He snorted. He snorted all the red pepper flakes.
Yeah, I snorted atomized Thai chili pepper, Szechuan pepper, and garlic powder.
I mean, I don't mind the garlic powder. Yeah, that shit probably smells amazing. I like garlic.
Oh, all of it smells amazing. All of it burns like all hell, though.
Yo, Rodney. Yo, Blaster.
So I just completely cleared out my sinuses. I can smell things that haven't lived in the past 100,000 years currently.
Dude, you were smelling.
I can smell through all time and space. Ask me what Uranus smells like.
I'm effectively getting the scent equivalent of background radiation right now.
Can you smell the Big Bang?
Hold on. So, do you not like spices, or?
Oh, I love spices. It's just there's a difference between getting
hold on.
spices.
Why am I? It's Sanguine. How?
Yeah. And you've had things that I went, oh yeah, this is kind of mild. And you and Quiz were going, this is what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah, like, hold on, fucking. No, only because at work, we got in a discussion about peppers and whether or not it's like a flavor versus spice and or heat, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, like something like a habanero has a nice flavor, but it also has a heat, but it depends on how you work the pepper.
I'm a big fan of... So, do you guys know that there's different ways that you can make hot sauce?
No, yes.
Wait, different ways you can make coffee?
Hot sauce.
Oh.
Different ways that you can make hot sauce. So you can have
How did I hear coffee?
I have no clue. So you have the fruiting body hot sauce, which is you take the flesh of the pepper. This is going to be the most mild of the hot sauces, to the point where a good chunk of the time it's just referred to as a pepper sauce rather than a hot sauce. Because it takes just the outer flesh, you blitz that together with normally an oil, and it creates a rather thick, flavorful, slightly spicy sauce.
Oh.
Then you have the whole pepper sauce, which is you take, let's say, a number of habaneros, jalapenos, and serranos. You throw them all in a blender with a bit of oil, you blitz them up, and you get a whole pepper sauce. So it still has all the complexity of the fruiting body sauce, but not as mild because it has all of the seeds, the pith, everything is in there. So you get the full strength of the pepper spice.
That's where it comes from, right? The seeds and the spice? Or
Yeah, the main areas that capsaicin it is sequestered within the pepper are the seeds and the pith.
Yeah.
The pith is that white veiny structure on the inside. So there's some of it in the flesh, which is why you still get a bit of heat, even if you strip away the pith and seeds. You still have a little bit of heat from your peppers. It just reduces it by like 80%. So you have the whole pepper sauces, which give you a spicier sauce, but still have all the sweetness that a pepper normally does, and all the other flavoring elements that a normal pepper has. Then you have the pith and seed sauces, which are they remove the outer body of the pepper, they remove the flesh, and then they use the pith and seed and they make a sauce out of that with some of the fruiting body, but it's mainly just pith and seed in order to make it much spicier. And then you have the extract sauces, which are you start with a pith and seed sauce, and then with that pith and seed sauce, you refine it until you get an extract of capsaicin rather than just a sauce made from peppers.
Okay.
And those get the hottest. So a just the flesh sort of hot sauce, that tops out fairly low on the Scovilles. It's maybe a couple 100,000.
I forget that's how how heat is measured through Scovilles.
Yep, Scovilles is the unit of measure for the heat of a pepper. So you have a habanero, which was the traditional hottest pepper, and that's about 300,000 Scoville units.
Neat.
If you go up to the next hottest pepper, which was derived within the past couple decades, you have the ghost pepper.
Oh, dude, yo, I tried the like a ghost pepper sauce.
Yep.
That's
fuck no.
So
it's not
ghost peppers are 1,000,000 Scoville units.
Fuck.
So they're over 3 times as strong as habaneros.
And well, okay, hold on. At least the habanero, like it tasted, like it's tasty.
It's still fruity.
Yeah, but with ghost pepper, it was like not only was it fucking burning your tongue and your insides, but you wanted to throw it up because it tasted horrible.
It depends on how a sauce is made with ghost peppers, because there are very delicious ghost pepper sauces.
Oh,
and
this one was not.
There's also, if you go to the next hottest sorts of peppers, you end up with a trio. Because there's 3 that are currently going back and forth on any given year for the hottest pepper in the world. Those are the Pepper X,
Pepper X.
Yes, Pepper X, the Carolina Reaper,
Okay.
and the Trinidad Scorpion. So those are the 3 hottest peppers currently. The hottest examples of each of those is about 3 million Scoville units.
Oh, God, that sounds spicy and hot.
So if you do a whole pepper sauce, then it could get as spicy as whatever pepper you're using. So if you're using a Trinidad Scorpion, then you can get up to, and you're using one of the 300 million varieties. Oh, sorry, not 300. 3 million varieties. You can get up to 3 million Scoville units with a whole pepper sauce.
Ooh.
Using a pith and seed sauce, you can go higher than that. But you can only go up to about like 4 million, if I remember correctly, with the pith and seed sauces. When you go to extract, that's when you can go 9 million plus.
Hey, I'm sorry. I hear in the other room that my toaster is kind of causing.
I gotta go check your toaster.
Go tend to your toaster.
Go check it out. I'll be right back.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, so I've had up to a 9 million Scoville hot sauce before.
Sanguine, I got a question. Just a small question.
Yes.
Is it because of your dwarven made belly that you can have all this shit?
Potentially. After all, it is rather traditional that dwarves have poison resistance of some degree.
Clearly. I totally forgot about that.
But it is absolutely ridiculously spicy, that one. I had to sign 2 health waivers before I was allowed to try it.
Really?
Yeah. Because when you get to that point, there's a small possibility that people will have a sufficiently negative reaction to capsaicin at pretty much any dose. The higher the dose, the more likely the negative response is. One of the things that can happen with extremely high dose, which is that like 9 million capsaicin sauce, it happens a bit before that 9 million capsaicin sauce, is it can cause your body to just kind of dump out a shit ton of different functions. So it causes a number of issues. It can tank your blood pressure, for instance.
Okay.
And cause you to just collapse because you don't have enough blood pressure in order to keep your brain oxygenated.
Bliet.
Hey, how it goes?
How's it going?
Doing pretty well. Just talking about hot sauces and peppers.
Oh, God, no, it's a quizzer.
Yep, it's quiz.
Quiz, have you upgraded yet?
What?
Have you upgraded? Are you still 8.1? I'm trying to get you to move on
No, I'm
to
11.
not.
It's still 8.1. I say the patch hasn't come out yet.
Ah, come on. You're using old tech. Gotta get with the times.
Army number 21 has been acquired.
God damn. Which one did you pick up?
Night Lords.
Weak.
Yeah, I'm gonna be putting them together, seeing about if I can get them and a whole bunch of stuff for my roommate all painted here before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Silence the noise of life.
See, the thing is that the Night Lords, they have fucking awesome looking armor.
Mm-hmm.
But their lore is kind of like,
Their lore is that they are like the Russian mafia. They're scum. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're all scum. They
Listen. Perhaps we could do some zingy
Sukabliat.
for you.
they're all scum. They like their best fighters are kind of middling compared to a lot of the other legions. It's just that they don't fight fair.
Yep.
They just
They're not supposed to.
yeah, they don't fight fair. They
chapter
aren't
are they under?
supposed to. They go and they torture.
What Primarch are they under?
Conrad Kurz.
Well,
Of
were.
course.
They aren't under him anymore.
Well, yeah,
been
because he's dead.
dead for an extended period of time.
They're gonna bring him
Well,
back.
believe it or not, it was long after the heresy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
long
let
after the
himself
heresy,
be
but
killed
still an
by
extended
Cal-
period of time.
Again, in the noise of life, silence must fall.
Yeah.
The
Well,
dead
his
You're
will
whole
trying
thing
to
is
get
that,
your
like,
flesh back.
he wanted himself to be killed because he wanted it to be a manifesto about how the Imperium and the Emperor are evil, and
Yep.
going after him and the Night Lords was like the ultimate act of proving Conrad right. The problem is that Conrad himself is not Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the Joker who thinks he's Batman.
I'm trying to remember the Batman villain that their whole shtick was that they were trying to be Batman, but they would actually kill people.
Azrael.
Yeah.
But did they wear hockey masks?
I'm not wearing hockey.
No. Red Hood.
Well, Red Hood killed people, but only for a while. After a while, like Jason Todd got like rehabilitated, so to speak.
He rejoined the family and still got beat up by Dick Grayson. So he didn't get the cow.
Well, the whole thing was that he was convinced of going back to not killing people by Batman.
Mm-hmm. Whereas the one that I was thinking, his whole shtick is, yeah, I'm also a vigilante. I just fucking murk people.
Yeah, Azrael was perfectly fine with like running villains through and like, chopping off limbs.
Yep.
I mean, Azrael had the right idea. Again, how many people would have been saved if Batman put the Joker down?
That was supposed to be the end of Killing Joke.
Yeah, it was. It was supposed to be that he laughs and he snaps his neck.
Yeah,
because in the cutscene, there's the subtitles. It's supposed to be a crunch sound.
well, the very last panel, the only one who's laughing is Batman.
Makes sense. You're just gonna turn laugh and then we'll fall.
I'm trying to remember which version, which universe it was, where it was the Joker was about to get Superman to snap. So Batman.
It was Injustice, and it was the perfect world scenario from Injustice.
Okay, the perfect world scenario.
Yeah. So when Superman when he after he fights the Green Lantern Corps, I forget. I think he was put under by somebody, and he essentially went to like a perfect world scenario where it's instead of him killing the Joker, it's Batman that kills the Joker. He saves Lois, and Batman decides I'm gonna go, turn myself in because I committed murder.
Yep.
And then Superman walks through the glass panel, like he's talking to Batman in through the glass in prison. He goes, if you behave, you can be out to Clark. I'm in prison. I'm not behaving. And he walks through the glass, and like they're all trying to say, if you say so, I will get you out of here for what you did. You don't have to stand a second in here. And he goes, Clark, we both know that I committed a crime. In order to hold the high ground for anything, I have to serve my time.
Yep.
And Batman, Superman hugs him, goes, yeah, it was the perfect world scenario. And then he wakes up and it's like still the Injustice universe.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to remember because I remember the bit where Batman is in the Batmobile taking Joker to Arkham again.
Yeah, and he's telling him how he's just going to do it again. He's just going to get out and do it again.
Joker's bragging about how he almost broke him. He's going to do it again. He's going to break him. And as that's going on, Batman's just kind of talking to him, reaches over, snaps his neck, drives to Arkham, rolls the body out, turns himself in.
Yeah, because again, like that whole situation was, I fight you all the time, and I can't fuck with you. Like, our song and dance is just gonna be this forever song and dance, and I'm tired of fucking losing to you. So I thought I'd fuck with Superman, and because Superman can't, he has to hold back when he's dealing with me, and I'm not his villain. I can fuck with him, and it's all new.
Mm-hmm.
You, however, know all my tricks, and it just sucks.
Yeah, dude.
And Batman goes, so you did all this because you were fucking bored? Look, yeah.
Fuck!
What?
Yeah, dude. I think it sucks.
You think what sucks?
Everything.
Adam is playing NFL or NHL. What year is this?
Only a couple of years.
2020.
21, and just got scored on.
Ah.
Ooh.
And went up and over the goalie. It's not Crawford, is it? 32?
What team?
32.
Yeah.
It's not Corey Crawford, is it?
Oh, didn't he? Last year. Oh shit.
But yeah, that I like the Injustice series a lot.
Injustice books are good. They are.
Yeah. It is what if Superman what if the Justice Lords weren't the Justice Lords but actual, them. And
I said for a while that especially on comic book curation, that Injustice was the best Justice League story I've read in several years.
Oh,
yeah. Especially with the fact that he gets the yellow ring, and Batman instantly goes, "Holy shit! Cut the fucking feed!" And they go, "Why?" Because they just witnessed him killing, and he has a yellow ring, which is powered by fear. He is the most terrifying thing on the planet right now. Cut the fucking feed.
I think the only real thing that had me, just a little, that's out of character. That's just out of character. Was when Hal Jordan switched to the
Jordan
yellow
Green.
line.
Yeah, when he went. No, the one thing that had me like, what the fuck was Wonder Woman destroying the yellow ring.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh,
On the grounds that it's not like it controls him. He has his own power, but he has his own. He's a living battery. It just enhances like his natural aura of fear. So it would be better to control the population, because that'd be another barrier they have to get around to take him out again, or to try to take him out.
Well, I just think that when Hal still had Ollie, he would never have gone yellow. Never.
All right, fair enough.
If they'd have changed the time, when it happened to after Superman kills Oliver,
Yeah.
then I could have seen that.
Oliver.
Shit. Yeah. He killed.
Yeah, Superman kills Oliver in
So when
Injustice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when they attack, so Superman has this like strength enhancing pill that makes most people as strong as him. In order to get it, they break into the Hall of Justice and they steal it. Well, Ollie stays there and he threatens Mom Pa Kent. And Superman fucking snaps. And Pa Kent had to take the pill to hold him back. Because he turns him into fucking paste.
Well, the when he eventually kills him is when Oliver knows that he's gonna lose, and it's in the Batcave.
Yeah, like he
it's
fucking pastes them.
And that's like he kills Green Arrow, and then he breaks Batman's back, and that's when Alfred takes the super pill and beats the ever loving fuck out of Clark.
Yeah, just goes to town on the boy's ass.
Yep.
Yo, John. Yeah, man. again, that series was good. I like the. It was essentially the Civil War without the Civil War, essentially.
Yeah. Well,
was
it's
another
better than Civil
storyline.
War because it was handled way better than Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War, that Marvel didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They didn't.
Well, the Civil War should have been. All right, the lines in which the Civil War was drawn was okay. I get it. Mass superheroes versus unmasked superheroes in government registration makes sense.
Well, the problem is that for some of them, they made them act out of character. Namely, the X-Men. X-Men never joined Tony Stark ever.
Remember, Emma goes to him. Goes to sorry, not Emma. Tony goes to Emma and asks her, "Hey, can you help us out?" And she goes, and she points to the Sentinel and goes, "So when our people were being rounded up and herded into our little reservations, where the fuck were you?"
Where the fuck were you?
And that's it's not in those words, but that's essentially what she said. Like, and could you see the Sentinel just looming over the kids on at the school?
I am 100% right behind you, Terry. Where the fuck were you?
He just got scored on again.
Okay. But yes,
Sentinel. Emma. Fucking
punch him! Punch him!
But Emma doing that shit, yeah, that.
Fucking. Where the fuck were you?
What it should have been was motherfucking staying the hell out of it if that really didn't affect them. Again, the X-Men should have stayed out of it. And it should have been just regular vigilantes. The mutants should have never gotten involved.
I agree. The X-Men should have stayed out of it. Like the problem is that Marvel doesn't know what the fuck to do with the X-Men in modern day. They haven't since the 2000s.
The X-Men are what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they're the reason why X-Men villains are geneticists and scientists and shit like that. There's a strict reason why most of the villains they fight are either other mutants, geneticists like Mr. Sinister, otherworldly entities like Mojo and them, because their villains have to be kind of tailor made to their story.
Yeah.
Whereas you can have Doctor Doom fucking fighting the Hulk, and it'd be a good story because I could see the Hulk having to go do something that he had to stop Doctor Doom for.
Yeah,
not necessarily his enemy, but still,
Yeah, there's across the monster, Doctor Doom.
Yeah, there's no reason why anyone else would have to deal with Magneto other than the X-Men.
Yeah, because again, he's not really fucking with shit. And even then, you could have other people dealing with Magneto in a sense, but Magneto wouldn't go, "Oh, well, I'm going to go fuck with Wakanda because I want some of the resources." Like, no, I want to fucking be left alone. Wakanda isn't harassing me, or they're not rounding up my people and destroying them. Why would I fuck with Wakanda?
Yep.
And again, that's another thing. X-Men are kind of limited to America in a sense. Even though they're worldwide beings, most of that shit really just happens in maybe the Australian island region, if you will, Japan region.
No, that's not true at all. Because remember, Savage Land.
Then, right, I totally forgot about Savage Land.
You have Savage Land. You have Asteroid M. They go a lot of places other than just the U.S. and especially upper. Was it Winchester, New York?
Yeah,
they're less so limited by actual story beats and more so by the cultural commentary that they're trying to do.
Yeah, trying to tell. Yeah, I get it. Again, it's that, they're fighting other mutants, they're fighting geneticists, and most of that shit usually happens locally because, Mr. Sinister is rounding up, he's rounding up these special mutants. Well, why is he doing it? Let's stop him in his fucking lab in, Albany.
I think that the major thing that the X-Men need is they just need to stay only about the X-Men.
Yeah.
About the mutant shit, yes.
Crossover with any of the other fucking Marvel comics. They don't need to cross over with anyone else.
And I think at this point, they need to realize that it's not a. People aren't looking to see a movie about a comic book character and want to see their personal lives or their fucking, adjusting to reality. No, they want to see a comic book character doing comic book character things.
Yeah.
No, all right. This is what I want them to do. Like, if they're gonna take a comic book storyline, like, all right. So the Chitauri and was from Ultimate Age of the Ultimate Age. Do the fucking Ultimate Age. Give me drunken Tony Stark. Give me fucking abusive Ant-Man. Give me the fight between him and fucking Captain America.
Well, you know what I want? I want them to do the Phoenix Saga and do both the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga and
The
actually
Hellfire Club?
fucking include the Mkron Crystal.
Oh yeah.
I
want to see Gladiator.
And
wanna
I
see-
have a slight disagreement with you, Inquisitor, because I think that there are ways that you could get other Marvel characters brought in temporarily into the stories, but it's that they're doing it entirely wrong every time that they do it. You could get motivations that work. It's just they're too lazy to actually work the story so that you get those motivations.
Well, if there's a world-ending
Do you want to
threat,
come team up with us? That's all there is to it, rather than okay, here's how they actually get them on their side.
I want to see them if they're gonna do movies. I want a real world-ending threat dealt like a world-ending threat. Like again, you when they set up like the universe, you've already had Spider-Man. So why wasn't Spider-Man making a small cameo, helping? Like, all right, we have Peter Parker, we have Spider-Man dealing with this issue here, and the Avengers are dealing with that issue over there, and we have to handle this shit here. Like when the fucking Silver Surfer came around, that's a world-ending problem.
That's part of you need to build it into your story, the justification of why they're doing shit, and that's where they've been fucking up. Because you could have it where there's justification for why one of the other Marvel heroes shows up. I would argue it's best to keep them kind of like a background story beat. Don't try to go, oh yes, Iron Man, please come in and consult with us. No, don't do that shit. But as you're dealing with the big bad, seeing Iron Man dealing with a component of the big bad makes fucking sense.
Well, the one thing that immediately I go to is the first issue of the new X-Men when they turn the X-Men into the Uncanny X-Men, I think X-Force, X-Factor, that era, the early 90s era of X-Men, when they got X-Men #1 made by or drawn by Jim Lee. There was a non-X-Men character in that issue.
Yep.
It was Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury was on the computers giving the X-Men a tactical update about Asteroid M.
Yep.
I mean, it would make sense that he would have that type of information because, again, it's a threat to a perceived
Global
threat
threat.
to the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would have, even if he wasn't like necessarily assisting with this threat, he'd have information like, yeah, my spies say that X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's the thing, that you have to justify why they're getting involved, and that's the problem that they're having. They don't want to ever justify why someone's getting involved. They don't even want to justify why someone isn't getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those need to be done.
Especially if you're going to have a connected universe.
Yeah, if you're going to have a connected universe and you're going to have a massive world-ending threat and you have superhero X dealing with that, you need to explain, well, where the fuck superhero Y, Q, R, S, T? You need to explain where all the others are. And one of the ways that you could do that is, well, this isn't just one threat, or this isn't the only threat. So you make it so that if you're having
It's multiple.
a universe, if you're having a connected universe, one thing that you could very easily do is have elements of the shit that the other movies are dealing with kind of spilling over, and
shit, that would be kick ass. Just imagine. We'll say Endgame. that you have someone else is dealing with like one of the other not the heralds, but one of the other agents of Thanos. So now while Tony Stark and them are dealing with one agent, you see another one being, you see Spider-Man rolling around fucking trying to fight this one guy, you know, and he just swings by for that brief scene, so you know he's dealing with something.
Yeah, or you have it so that if there's this evil force is trying to take over the world and they're doing XYZ and it's happening all around the world and this character is the one dealing with it, well, at the same time as that shit's happening, there's another smaller story or equally large story of someone else doing something else, and you see the thing that's supposed to be happening all around the world happening in that story as well.
Have you ever played Resident Evil 2 Sanguine?
Resident Evil 2, yes.
All right, so you know that both stories technically take place about an hour after each other, or an hour before, hour after. From
yeah, they're very close in time frame.
Yeah. So it could be something like that. So in the first story, we'll use the Avengers. In the first story of Avengers, they're dealing with problem X. You know, Grand Threat X is there while Big Bad is looming overhead, and they're dealing with that shit. Well, in the middle of that, because there were times in Resident Evil where there was a little crossover. So now you have the crossover. You see you see Spider-Man flying through, and you see him kick, you know, hey, I got you guys, and he tosses down an object, and he fucking, you know, swings over because his threat had just punched him. Now, and you don't know why he's flying over and why he just delivered what he delivered, but it's what they need. And then you get his movie or his tale where he's dealing with problem Q. Well, now you see, oh shit, they told him to go get this. Q has the object, and he's trying to get it to them. Yeah, because they have to deal with that problem there.
They don't even need to go that far. Like, they don't even need to have it, like, the story cross over.
Interconnected.
Yeah. Like I said, like when in the issue 1 of X-Men, Fury just like coming in to say, hey, this is the tactical situation about Asteroid M. That's as far as it needs to go.
Yep.
Like, he's just relaying information to the X-Men.
Or shit. But you can't use someone like Fury as a, you know, he's the team manager, so he's talking to these different teams. Hey, Fury, have you got anybody to deal with problem J? Yeah, I got the Fantastic Four on it. And then you hear you cut to their movie or whatnot, and he's telling them about this issue that he needs them, and we realize, holy shit, that's problem J from that movie.
Yeah, if you're going to have the series be interconnected, actually have it be fucking interconnected in a way that is tangible and in a way that explains, well, where was Ant-Man during this? Well, Ant-Man was dealing with the shit that happened in the Ant-Man movie that came out at roughly the same time as this movie. Oh, okay. So the reason why he wasn't here helping with this problem was he was dealing with another fucking problem that he ended up discovering. And, well, where was Iron Man? Well, he was currently dealing with this jackass over here. Oh, okay. This makes sense. I can understand why they aren't all swarming this big issue. Because
and then have that big one where they have the big issue.
Yeah, each of them is dealing with their own shit that's their big issue. And then you have it so that the big getting together movie is one of the characters you weren't following around during this entire period. So you were still kind of going, well, where was so-and-so during the events of all these movies? They should have been there. And then the big get-together movie is them dealing with shit throughout the duration of what the other movies were. And then very shortly after the other movies solved their problem, it's them going, holy shit, this has gone beyond what I can do. I need fucking everyone. And that's how you get everyone brought into the movie. So again, where the movies are actually connected. If you're going to do connected world, you have to actually connect the world. You have to explain where the fuck characters are, why they aren't here helping with a problem. And it can be something as simple as not every problem's a world-ending problem. That's a really fucking easy explanation.
Yeah, it
But
really
for some
is.
fucking reason, they want every problem to be, oh, the world's going to end. Well, then you have to explain, where are all the other heroes?
I
That
think the
could-
major pitfall is the fact that they wanted to do this big, larger than life comic book story,
Mhm.
and I think it was also a mistake that they immediately jumped to things like Civil War.
You know what gets me right? So
We've got over 100 years of stories. Civil War was written in 2000. Come on. You don't
you had
need to-
thousands of years stories and hundreds of years of connectivity. There's a reason why the Civil War went down like it did, because they have history together. You can't just throw brand new
What I mean is
superheroes into it.
There's 100 years of comic books written before Civil War.
Well,
They
yes.
didn't need to go with a story that was written in 2000.
That's
And-
true.
Again, the idea of, well, you just have it so that all the other superheroes are doing shit at the same time this superhero movie is taking place. That's kind of what happens with comic books. Because
All right.
we'll have the comic book for Batman released. And
Mhm.
about the same time as there's a comic book for Batman released, there's a new Superman comic. So, well, where was Superman when Batman was dealing with this? Oh, he was dealing with this shit that I can find out if I read the fucking Superman comic.
See, there's some, like, the way comic books are written like that is that they will have a story going on for whatever the title is.
Yep.
And then they will do a big crossover event where, they'll have part of the story is in Batman, then part of the story is going to be in Superman, then part of the story is going to be in Wonder Woman, then part of the story is going to be in Justice League. And so you need to buy each one of those issues to get the full
Get the whole
story for
story.
all of them.
Yep.
Is
And
that what
the
they're
way
doing
that
with
you-
the absolute?
I think so,
Storyline?
yeah. Yeah, the absolutes, yeah. Although I
way
think
that-
that's its own comic book. DC were much better at it than Marvel. Marvel really liked to go and do stories where, like, each issue was in a different comic book. DC, however, they'll create a brand new title if they want to tell a story. Like, there was a short-lived title in, oh god, what was it, like 2016, 2015, 2016, called Trinity.
Mhm.
And all of the stories were just about Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. That's it.
Ooh.
Like, there's nothing else.
What I think should be the case if you want to make a unified world and you want to have all these characters exist, doesn't matter if it's a Superman superhero story, doesn't matter what sort of story it is. If you're having a bunch of different stories that all kind of interweave and build into each other because they're sharing a common cosmos, what you have to do is, when you're wanting a big story, it has to first have hints at what the big story is going to be in each of the smaller stories.
Yes.
Not so much that you would need to see each of the smaller stories in order to understand the big story, but enough that when you see the big story, if you saw each of the smaller ones, you're going, oh shit, that's what that thing was.
See, the big problem is that, like I said, DC did it much easier and better than Marvel. All of their, like, stories by themselves are just their stories. They never did any big crossover events like that were in multiple issues, with very, very, very few exceptions. And usually it was for things like annuals, or it was like a big event like oh god, what was the name of that one? Flashpoint Paradox.
Yep.
Where they had, like, their own imprint and each one of those, and they would start over from, like, issue 1, and they would tell just their story and then reboot everything for, like, the next volume.
Yep.
Whereas with DC or with Marvel, like, especially the one that I'm most familiar with is going to be the X-Men. Like, for the for the big first crossover event that I remember was Fatal Attractions. That was the one where Wolverine lost his adamantium skeleton, where Magneto ripped his adamantium skeleton out. All of that was told between Uncanny X-Men, like, 45, X-Men 22, X-Force, like, 32, like, random ass numbers like that. And it would be just in that publication history that month, you would have to buy each one of the titles, and story part number 1 would be Uncanny X-Men. Then story part number 2 would be X-Men. Story part number 3 would be Excalibur. Story part number 4 would be X-Force. So on and so forth. And it would just keep on going that way. Like I said, DC did it way better than Marvel because that way you knew where the story started, where it was going, and how to get the full story.
I'll agree when it comes to comic books. And if you are just wanting to have each of your heroes be their own thing, what you're saying, absolutely. What I'm saying is more like one of my favorite authors is Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson has each of his series that he's currently writing, and then he has a lot of his series are built into what he calls the Cosmere. And the Cosmere is a meta series where each of the stories within the Cosmere affects each of the other stories within the Cosmere in ways that if you just read any of the series, you understand what's going on. But if you then read another one of the series, you get a fuller picture and you're going, oh shit, this is what's going on. And you get more information and it becomes more interesting, more exciting to read the next one. And then you read another one of the series within it and you're going, holy shit, and it recontextualizes everything again. It doesn't at any point contradict anything that happened in any of the other series. And each series is able to be read as a standalone. But
that's the way
reading all of them.
Heresy books are in the universe. Yeah. Like they'll have certain stuff that like creates a hallmark for like a time period.
Yep.
Like you have to read the first 4 books in the Horus Heresy series to get the everything up to I think Isfahan 5, and then like randomly through the publication history they'll advance the timeline a little bit, but like certain books will go back in the timeline to before like say Isfahan 5, and then another one will go forward all the way up until almost the Siege of Terra. Yep. So you'll have to like know the timeline and where each book kind of like fits in with the timeline. But it's the same way like I say to a lot of people when they say like I'm interested in reading Batman, where do I start? Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that everyone always asks anyone who's into comic books is where do I start? And I'll just keep saying wherever you want.
Have you ever read the Sanguine or Quest? Have you ever read any of the Magic the Gathering books?
No,
I haven't.
And it's a similar setup. Like we know the exact start. It's the Brother Wars, but everything else in between, because everything else is happening around different planes. Some shit actually happens alongside other events, and you have to read to figure out like, okay, where in the timeline does this technically happen? But you also got to account for the counting system in that domain, that planar realities counting system and their numerical system, because again it could be XYZ, which is technically a year after happening, but because the events are happening on different planes, it's all happening around the same time period.
Yeah,
it's fucking weird, and if you even read any of that shit, it'll fucking kill you trying to fucking put that shit in an official.
Well, it's the way that I keep on like talking about it, especially when it comes like the Horus Heresy books and then Batman and all that kind of stuff. The major things that you just got to know is you have to know the major events. Batman.
Yes.
What do you need to know about Batman? Is that his parents got shot. He went and he trained to become a vigilante. He becomes Batman. Now he's going around Gotham City cleaning up crime. That's really all you need to know. And you don't need to know anything else.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. If we're gonna be distilling this, it seems like we can work it out to be there's a Batman character who, yes, his origin story is
the fundamentals.
Is the fundamentals.
Yeah.
But then after that, it really does just become eventually who's who on Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And then
and even then it's just who do you care about reading about?
Yeah.
Like if you care about reading about the Joker, then you're probably not going to be reading about Two-Face.
And then you go with the
writers.
Mhm.
Look,
I do
you
think
and
that
I,
yeah.
as artists,
Yeah.
sir. But at the end of the day, it's the writers.
It is the writers, yeah. They're the ones that are telling the story.
They're crafting
Yeah.
the story.
Now, as a visual medium too, with comic books, it does kind of have to be a synergy.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a good writer
works
and a good
into it.
artist. Because I'll say this: I've read comics that were written really well, but with a shit artist, I'd be fucked if I actually bought that book.
Hey,
Yep.
let's be real. You have an artist that could have an impact, and then they can slowly decline or massively decline.
Oh, you mean?
What's the one with?
Are you talking about Frank Miller? Hi, Polly.
I didn't want to say it.
I'll say it. He knows my opinion about Frank Miller.
Yeah, with the Cosmere, the way that it works, like I said, is each story is its own standalone, but each story builds into the whole. So you get more information, and you kind of are able to piece together larger events at play.
Mm-hmm.
The more that you read within the Cosmere,
Yeah,
but
like I said,
it's its own, and that's what, if you're going to have a unified
universe sort of thing,
that's what you should be doing. You should be having.
That's what I said about the Horus Heresy, because there's a whole bunch of stuff like that in the Horus Heresy.
Yep.
One of my favorite books in the Horus Heresy talks about this one planet called Pandarax. Now that one's really interesting because it has absolutely nothing to do with like the rest of the Horus Heresy by itself, but there's a 40K book about Pandarax.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm getting into the sagas about Talarn. Now, we know in 40K that Talarn is a human planet, and they put out regiments for the Imperial Guard. But in Horus Heresy, it was an irradiated wasteland that was being fought over by the Iron Warriors and Imperial Fists.
Mm-hmm.
There were no humans on it at all. It was just a battleground for the Imperial Fists and the Iron Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I need to read the...
you get these...
It was a book that recently came out about... The fucking what was it? It was the Necron lore keeper and his.
Oh, you're talking about the Infinite and Divine?
There it is, Infinite and Divine. There you go. I need to read that one. I have it.
Trazen and Orkin.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yes,
it's Trazen and Orkin. Yeah.
From what I hear, Trazen's an asshole.
For Necrons, I really recommend Twice Dead King.
I think I have
really good books.
Hold on, let me check out my library and see what I got on it.
It's Twice Dead King, Reign and Ruin are currently the ones out, and I think they're leading into a third book for it.
But that's the problem when it comes to a lot of stories. They don't want to actually justify how they're doing shit. They just want to have big set piece. And aren't you happy with big set piece? No, I want to know why the fuck big set piece is a thing.
Exactly.
And if you're going to have all these heroes, you damn well better explain why those heroes aren't helping out in every world-ending event.
Yeah, the problem is that there's way too many hack shit writers that want to just do the cool scene. Well, the cool scene is all well and good, but you have to set it up, and you
have to build toward it. If you just a good, all right, so. Many of you don't know this. I like to write, and I want to write my own novel one day, and I'm always working on it. And I realize that if you want to have some cool shit, you have to either lay the groundwork ahead of time, or plant seeds like little shit that when viewed in isolation doesn't mean anything, but in the greater context, you realize, holy shit.
Or rather, it builds to the thing. Another thing too is that a lot of people just like the ramp up, but that the setup is way more important than the payoff.
Yep.
Yes.
A good example of something that can be done fairly simply in order to give a justification for a story. You can do this with short stories really easily. You have something that you say in the beginning of your story that then, as the story goes, its contextualized meaning changes throughout the story until you state it again at the very end, and it now has an entirely different meaning, or you tack on like a short little bit that changes the entire meaning. A good example is I rather enjoy the humans just got so fucking good at war that they try to avoid it at every point that they can style of sci-fi writing.
Humans, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's the humans fuck yeah style. And one phrase that is interesting to see at the beginning and then see how it changes throughout is everyone in the universe or everyone in the galaxy knows that there's one race that will do anything it can for peace. Humans will try to avoid war at all reasonable costs. That gives you a very clear picture of what the universe is when you first read that. But then if you have it be a story about how humans were trying to be peaceful, pushed to the point where suddenly peace is off the table, and then you close out the story after the big set piece of everyone in the galaxy knows that there's a race that will do just about anything for peace. Few people know why. Boom. That does something that is fantastic to the story when you have that element of something stated simply in the beginning that then is contextualized throughout the entire story and then restated, and it has an entirely different meaning by just a simple thing being added to it.
The shot and the chaser.
Yep. And people want to have the big set piece. They don't want to have to put in the work in order to build the context, which is that first statement, which, like I said, that can be done in a short story very easily. Everyone knows that humans make fantastic diplomats in the beginning because they try to do anything for peace. And then you have a story about how there's a diplomatic meeting and they're negotiating. And then someone from a different alien race gets a stick up their ass and decides that, no, we're going to have to fight. And the humans trying to talk them out of it. And the person's like, nope, we're going to fight. And then once I kill you, I'll have the better negotiating prospect. So we're going to fight. And you build up how impressive of a warrior race this is. And then at the very end, it's like, okay, the duel happened. The duel started. The aliens started to move forward. The human kicked him in the groin, stabbed him in the spleen, stabbed him in the neck. Fight was over. And it's this sudden, oh, shit, that's why. And then you restate it. So you have this build, and the build contextualizes everything. And you need that start, you need that universe build, then you need the actual narrative build, you need the climax, and then you need that closing, which just slaps right at the end of, oh shit, that's what everything was about.
That's why humans don't fucking fight. We're good at it, and we like it.
We got so good at it that we don't get any enjoyment from it anymore. It just becomes a son of a bitch, you made me do this.
I'll be sure to read these and put them on my Kindle.
I'm not gonna lie. I say the same thing when I'm fixing myself a nice thick sandwich with a couple of slices of cheese and some condiments, and I'm saying, you know what? We got here.
We did this. War never changes, but a sandwich does.
But yeah, we just have a shit ton of lazy writers. And
Yeah. Well, I'll say also again, I brought it up when Adam brought it up for comic books itself. There's way more than that as well, because a shit.
We have nepotism in that.
A shit writer has a problem with having the story being bad, but there's also bad artists that will fuck up a good story.
Yeah.
Or a good writer. The good one that I can bring up is there's this awesome concept for a comic book about Black Canary and Zatanna Zatara, written by Paul Dini. Sounds great, right?
Mm-hmm.
drawn by Joe Quinones, the guy that did the America Chavez book.
Oh God, shit. Mag DeSaggio and I'm Not Starfire.
Well, I'm Not
Max
Starfire was written by what's her name?
Was it Mag? No, it wasn't Max.
No, it wasn't Max DeSaggio. I don't remember. Fuck.
I'm on a computer. Why am I not looking this up?
Yeah, it's kind of like how anytime that you're dealing with a story and visual, you need to have both.
Mariko Tanaka.
Yeah, Mariko Tanaka. Yeah.
Every time that you add another way of getting exposed to it, you need someone else that has better skills. So when you have the just author of something, they're writing a book, all you care about is how good the author is. When that work now has pictures, now you care about how good whoever's in charge of the pictures is. And then when you add in audio, you care about how good everyone involved in the audio is. Because you can have a fantastic story that is done as a comic book, and it's a rather shit comic book because the visuals are terrible, or it's done as an audiobook, and it's a rather shit audiobook because rather than the person sounding like the voice that you imagine, it is the voice is completely off, or the person just can't fucking speak to save their goddamn life, and that takes you out of the story. And then you have movies where you need a good story, you need good acting, you need good sound direction, you need good film direction, and you need good sets. If you have all of those, you have an amazing movie. If you have some of those, you can end up with a good movie. If you have none of those, it is dog shit. And it's a common thing. The more complex the sort of media is, the more the failure it's going to have. A cartoon has more points of failure than a comic book.
Give me my phone.
Because everyone here remembers the 90s X-Men cartoons, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Not at all.
Those cartoons would be nowhere near as good if they horribly cast any of the voices. If instead of Wolverine sounding like the Wolverine that we all remember,
Well,
he had this squeaky voice.
I'll come right out and say it. I don't think that. I think that that's a bad example simply because X-Men, at least to me, and remember, I'm a diehard X-Men fan. Like back in '92, that was my jam. I did not read Batman. I did not read Superman. I didn't read like anything else other than X-Men. Okay. But I didn't like the X-Men voices when they first started. When that cartoon first started, I thought the first like 5 episodes were incredibly hard to get through.
Oh, that's fair enough. But I'm saying that
however, the good example would be Batman, because
Batman's
like those the voices, the voice cast for that was near perfect.
Yep.
I cannot think of a single character in the Batman animated series that was not memorable in some incredibly specific way. So
let's use that one then. If rather than Batman's voice being the voice that we all know as Batman, instead it was if instead it was, I'm not going to let you get away with that, Joker, no one would have liked it.
No.
People would have laughed at that shit.
People might have laughed at it. More people would have been pissed off.
I would say the one thing that I think is really interesting about the Batman voices in particular is that, did you know that Mark Hamill was not the first choice for the Joker?
Who was?
Tim Curry.
Makes sense.
That would have been hilarious. I'm not sure if I would have liked it as much, but that would have been amazing.
There actually is a full treatment of the first episode with Tim Curry as the Joker instead of Mark Hamill. You can watch it online.
Did Tim Curry do a read through?
Oh yeah, for the full episode.
Really?
Yeah, there is a copy of the first episode of the Batman animated series with Curry as the Joker.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's crazy.
All I'm imagining is that particular sound. I can't fucking do it, but it's the Tim Curry sound that he's done in so many different things. Where it's that like,
Yeah.
I'm just picturing that coming out of Joker.
Command and Conquer 3.
Yes,
It's the going to the one place untouched by capitalism.
to
Space!
Yeah.
Just to have him do that space.
Again, it's something that you can tell when it's any given element is the weak point in a story or in a work. So that's the thing that drives me crazy about the things that people are saying, oh, let's reboot this series. No, don't reboot the series that were already good. Look for a series that had amazing writing, but was failed at each of the other points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Or go for a series that had kind of shit writing, but they had the right idea with the visuals.
Well, say you want a good example of them of Marvel actually doing this, and I will be fully on board with giving them props. And it's modern Marvel too.
Go for it.
The new America Chavez book, Made in America.
I still can't. I still dislike American Child. Like nothing
So
can
did they
save
just
this poor
scrap
child.
the story
Okay, so
and fix
Here's
everything
the
else.
thing, right? Gabby Rivera is a shit author. She is awful. Joe Quinones is an awful artist. Both of them together made probably the worst comic book that Marvel has ever put out.
Yep.
Okay.
She's from the Lesbo universe of lesbians. Where come on.
Okay. Oh, no, hold on. Made in America is a comic book about America Chavez where the writer, I can't remember her name right now, but she was given carte blanche to do whatever the fuck she wanted. The art in it is amazing. It's dark and brooding. They do like this cosmic horror thing with it. It's awesome.
Okay.
It looks amazing. It's great. It looks great. But they tell the real story of America Chavez. And what the real story of America Chavez is that there was a thing called the Utopian Parallel, which, if we remember from Gabby Rivera's comic book, is lesbian land where everything is swirly girly things and the two goddesses give birth to all of the women. And it's the Utopian Parallel because there's no men and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
The Utopian Parallel.
Lesbian birthday. Is that supposed to be like the Star Wars the
Force is female?
the witch
the lesbian witches?
The
lesbian force orgy.
If Marvel were trying that, because they also did like this weird stupid thing where they would like put in like Mary Sue isms where every like America Chavez would encounter all of the different Marvel characters and everyone would instantly like her and stuff like that. Like she accidentally opens a portal in time and steals Hitler's punch from Superman or from not Superman, Captain America. But everyone was okay with it because she's cool.
No.
Yeah, there's all the sorts of shit like that. Okay,
it's like them trying to shoehorn fucking Miles Morales into every little thing.
Pretty much. Yeah. Although Miles Morales actually has potential to be a good to tell a good story. I also think that Kamala Khan has potential.
I can tell you instantly how you make Miles Morales a better hero. Decouple him from Spider-Man.
No, make him his own character. Yeah.
Yes, I have him go to college in California or somewhere else, and build himself up there. Drop the Spider-Man, become the Arachnid, become a Nazi, become whatever, and have his own set of rogues.
Yeah, don't have him be Spider-Man. Have him be his own thing. Yeah.
Yes, decouple him, and he would instantly be a better character because you can stop making the comparison that he is Black Spider-Man or race swap Spider-Man.
That
Well,
was
see,
what
again,
Stanley was
I think-
originally saying, because Stanley was asked if he would make one of his heroes black at one point, and he said, "No, I'm not going to make one of my heroes black. I'll make a black superhero.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'll make black superheroes. I'm not going to make one of my heroes black."
I will create something new. Yeah. Did you know that there actually exists a comic book in the world where Stan Lee was hired by DC to write a Justice League comic book?
I didn't know that.
Yes. I have it. It's called Just Imagine. All right. And it's Just Imagine Stan Lee wrote the Justice League. And Batman is black and from the inner city of New York.
Well, again, it's not his hero, so I guess it will be that way.
He wrote an entire new mythos for Batman.
Yeah,
And it's cool.
yeah, that's
You
the
can do that.
Shit, it pisses me off that people. Oh, we want a black Superman. We already have one. Steel.
Yeah. John Henry Irons.
He is literally the Batman of the super family because he's highly intelligent. His shit is based on tech, and he's a hard worker. You know, again, he would be he is the better black Superman.
Yeah.
And it's
black
not
Batman. You mean.
his work.
It just decouple him from Superman. Just have
Yeah.
him remove that S on his chest.
And he's his own hero. And there you go. He's his own hero now. Because again, it's not that it's not like he's super steel. You know, it's just that he got the S because he's, you know, when Superman passed, or I think he died temporarily.
The sleep and return of Superman. Which, if you've not seen the death and return of Superman video on YouTube, I highly recommend it by Max Landis. So funny.
When there's like 3 Supermen running around, Steel, original Superman, and then like a Metallo.
Well, no, 4. There was Superboy. There was Steel. There was Cyborg Superman. And then there was the Eradicator. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Made in America. Okay.
Okay.
So the whole thing starts off with her in San Francisco with the West Coast Avengers.
All right.
And she sees that there's this thing going on in New York on the city block where her family is, you know, right? So she goes and she opens a star portal and goes to New York, and there's this banter thing with Spider-Man. It's funny because like he encounters her when she falls from the portal that she makes from San Francisco to New York and falls directly into the garbage. I think the writer was saying something. But anyway, so you got Spider-Man interacting with her, and not in a Mary Sue sort of way, which was great. Great to see. And then they go into the whole thing. Her family that raised her is not her real family. They found her on a piece of debris floating in the like on the sea on Coney Island, and they took her in and raised her. Number one, that's kidnapping people. And number two, that was her tenuous at best connection to her Hispanic heritage. All right.
Okay, so they finally decoupled her from. Oh, she's not Hispanic. Yes. Fucking.
Okay, hold on. Now we go back into her actual past. She did have 2 mothers. Okay.
Okay.
If you were raised by Hispanic parents, but you're not.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, she had 2 mothers. Okay.
Okay.
But we go into the explanation. She was born to a mother and a father. Her mother didn't stick around with the man and got involved with a woman.
Okay.
So it makes sense now instead of
she assumed that it was 2 women.
Yeah. And so now we have an explanation about how she's there. And what it was that her mothers were scientists, really gifted scientists.
Of course.
Okay.
It's Marvel, so of course. But America Chavez was dying of this incredibly rare disease called Edges syndrome.
Oh, fucking hell.
No, it seems like this author is just taking every stab she can at Gabby Rivera and twisting the blade. I fucking love it. Edges syndrome? Are you serious?
She was a edgelord.
So, okay.
See, the thing that Edge's syndrome makes me think of is I now really want the Hounds of Tindalos to pop up somehow.
So her mothers get involved with this guy who has developed a program to help these children who are affected by this disease. And it is by exposing them to a place called the Utopian Parallel.
Okay.
Basically think it's another dimension like the Fantastic Four go into to get their superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
It's this gateway that goes into a Lovecraftian universe that has this amazing cosmic radiation that gets rid of your Edges syndrome and gives you superpowers. Ooh.
Good
Problem.
deal.
The
It
radiation
sounds
is
terrible.
starting to wear off.
Oh shit.
So she's starting to die again. And that's
Oh,
when
no.
she encounters the villain of the miniseries, her sister,
Okay.
who was also exposed to this radiation and has the same superpowers as America Chavez. Like I said, this whole comic book series is like doing everything in its power to stab Gabby Rivera in the back, twist the blade, like remove her spinal column, hold the severed column and skull up to the world to say, I can create a better story than you. And it worked because it's a good comic book.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying, that anytime that you're doing a reboot of something, it shouldn't be a reboot of something that's already good. You should find something that it had something there. There was
has some potential
element there that the bones are decent.
Like, in my opinion, I think that Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, is a pretty shit character. But that's because every single person that has ever written for her has been absolutely awful.
Yep.
I could write a good Kamala Khan story.
Again, that's another thing. I think what you do with Kamala Khan is you don't shoehorn her into everybody's story. She's another one that gets shoehorned in a shit ton of places.
Yeah.
And
I think that she could, like, it could be a good study into showing that the world is bigger than just her. In fact, actually, I think that she kind of was required to be like that. But the major thing is, okay, so she's a teenage girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no limits to her powers. She can manipulate her body and her composition, like how she looks, what she looks like, how dense her muscle structure is, everything, her bone structure, her skin color, everything. She is completely mutable. It's like she's Mystique and Mr. Fantastic all rolled into one.
Plus a few other superheroes.
A little bit, yeah. But unlike Plastic Man, she can change the color of her skin and stuff like that too. So imagine
Plastic Man can change the color.
No, he can't.
No.
He can change his molecular density. He can literally be fucking liquid, but he can't. He can't change. He's still fucking.
If he can change into a fucking chair,
yeah, but it's still a white chair.
Skin for a little bit.
Well, all I'm saying, okay, imagine, right? If they want to tell
sit upon the flesh chair
a story about a minority girl who's like having problems because she is a minority, all right? Fine, you can do that. But imagine now that she has the power to change her body in any sort of way that she wants. Imagine a teenage girl who can do this.
Yep.
You know what? You know what they should do. With her storyline, her concept. She has an identity crisis. Like when you could beat anybody and you're that young, you kind of lose a sense of self.
Well, I mean, imagine the like even going so far as to saying you want to make a story about identity. You want to make a story about a young girl who's oppressed because of the color of her skin, and yet she has the ability to change her body completely at will. Do you mean to tell me that there is not going to be a time where she's going to be weak and make herself this voluptuous, blonde, white Aryan woman that she thinks that everyone wants to see? And then has to see the problems that person has to go through.
Yep.
Yeah. Or no, she's going to decide she's going to be a old white man, and she got to see all the problems that an old white man has to go through.
Or that's like there's so much that you could write in without the ideological block of social justice that you can write an actually good story with a character like that. You could.
That is a story that is designed to be an empathy story.
Yes, exactly. And no one has ever written that story. Everyone just tells you that Kamala is oppressed in some sort of way and that she becomes a hero because people are mean to her. And yet there is no character growth with her. She is just, I have superpowers now and I rise above it. I
don't know if you're aware, but this is 2024.
I know, yeah.
And unfortunately, if
you
you're
can't
brown
write stories like
or
that.
a darker complexion on your skin,
A darker hue.
You're oppressed, and you don't even have to explain it.
No, yeah, it's just
you are just automatically.
Yeah, you're automatically. I just
Again, if I were to write Kamala Khan, I would take away the ability of transforming herself. However, I would make her more. What's the word I'm looking for? I think I would give her power, the upper limit of her power. It causes crisis with it. Like she sometimes punches too hard, and it's her learning how to hold back and instead of. Because again, if you can change your muscle density, you can punch fucking pretty hard.
Yeah, I know.
And also, as
I'm just saying, like the idea that I put forward, these are character growth. Now, this is character growth. This is a way that you develop the character, and you make them sympathetic and likable.
Yeah, as someone who grew up unreasonably strong from a very young age, there's a running joke in my family that no one is 100% sure it's actually a joke, which is I was given small animals to learn how to be gentle.
The wabbits, George?
I was given gerbils.
Oh, okay.
And
tell me about the rabbits, George.
Wait, what? Yeah, what are you?
The alfalfa, George.
I was given gerbils as pets, and it was I was fairly young, but I was already at like the age of 6. Hugging people hard enough that I had injured siblings by hugging.
Now I know why your siblings fucking hate you.
And I had, well, not just siblings, but I had injured family members by hugging. So it's a bit of a running joke that I was given gerbils and other small pets in order to learn how to be gentle. Like I said, no one's 100% sure that this is a joke because it fucking worked. But yeah, if you have someone, especially if they suddenly gain strength, you can either do it from a very young age, they're extremely strong, which that has been touched on with other heroes. Superman has, at various points, been talked about learning how to control himself.
Yeah, he had to learn how to hold back.
Was the controlling of his flight and laser eyes.
Yep.
Max Landis did an amazing job with the first issue of American Alien with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so
again,
you have that Superman learn that if you had these powers from birth, if you're extremely strong, and I'm not superhumanly strong, I'm just strong. But if you have superhuman strength, fuck yeah, you should have that person accidentally be hurting people when they were young and having to learn how to be gentle, how to hug someone so that they don't hurt them, how to pet an animal so that the animals...
The world of cardboard.
that sort of story has been around for a really, really long time.
Yep.
The made-for-TV movie about Generation X.
Yeah.
There was a whole bit about that in that when Mondo was explaining his superpowers.
Yep. And then you have that aspect of it. And then if the powers are suddenly given to someone, oh, good God, the amount of training that you would need to redo in order.
Yeah, because imagine you learn
learning.
how to fly, and if you step too hard, you can literally put a hole in the floor.
Yep. Or you were normal strength or even above average strength, and then you gain superhuman strength to the likes of Superman.
Well, I mean, one of the
Oh,
things
shit,
that was really kind of
things
like
that you would need to
unspoken
do.
about Superman that I really kind of like is the fact that when they talk about it, there's more to it than just like being able to control his strength. It's the fact that, imagine any time that you've been upset. Have you ever like slammed a door when you've been angry?
Yep.
Yes.
Imagine doing that and knocking over like the whole side of the house.
Yeah.
That's something that Superman is capable of. So not only does he then have to keep his strength in check, he also
His
keeps
emotions.
emotions in check.
Yep. And that shit that if you have a hero suddenly gain superhuman strength, you need to give them that. Or you need to let them have complete Hulk moments.
Like,
where you lose control and become a monster. That's one
Yep.
thing I think is the biggest mistake that Marvel has ever made was the fact that they made a smart Hulk or a
yes,
Hulk.
they Hulk. All right, so base Hulk has no upper limit. His rage is his strength. He can get really fucking pissed and literally crush the planet with his rage. And do you remember it was a Hulk versus Thor, and they removed Banner from Hulk. And Loki said, like, this creature's unbridled rage, and even as a god, he struggled to contain him, and he would just throw around the Asgardians.
Contain him, period. Like the Asgardians could not stop him.
Yep.
Yeah, like they realized like Banner is the only thing keeping us fucking alive. Like if Banner's not in there to calm the Hulk, we're all fucked. Because he can shrug off everything.
In that movie, because I thought that was a fantastic. When people talk about like Marvel and DC and stuff like that, they always say that DC is the better animated, and I agree they are. But I think that a lot of people discredit or forget about the Hulk versus movies. Both of them were fantastic. I love both of them. But my favorite bit was when he like knocks out Thor, and then he tries to lift Mjolnir. And he can't lift it. He just cannot lift it. Like he's sinking into the planet. He's breaking and buckling under his feet, trying to lift Mjolnir.
No, but do you remember in Ultimate Age when he deadlifts it? It's doing the same thing, but he gets so fucking pissed. He just so it must mean at some point the magic of the Mjolnir bottoms out.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. To me, there's that's the one thing that I think is like the most fascinating about the Hulk and Thor, because like talking about like raw power, Thor versus Hulk, I think the Hulk would win, but it's the fact that Mjolnir, no one who is not worthy can lift Mjolnir. So when you put the Hulk, who's definitely not worthy, Bruce Banner maybe, but the Hulk not, and you just lay Mjolnir on top of him, he can't lift it, he can't go anywhere, he's pinned.
Yeah, but even then, he at some point he'll get pinned, and that Mjolnir or like
he can maybe crack the planet that's pinning him down, but maybe not. But
I mean, if he keeps going down, at some point you're gonna hit liquid, and he's gonna be able to slide out the way.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's not like Mjolnir is gonna keep him in like a single place all at once. If there's some reason to that he can like shift his weight even slightly and just knock Mjolnir off by basic fucking gravity. Grab something and smack it off of him. It just say wield. It never said smack.
Yeah, I say Is that technically touching it? You know, like trying to use it as a wedge, trying to use a wedge to lift it.
Well, technically, it's not because the enchantment literally just says wield. It's use, not move.
Well, it says lift.
Lift, but again, he's not trying to lift it. He's just trying to smack it away.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't, or if that was something that the enchantment would prevent, then there's a lot of explaining to do. How are so many villains able to redirect it when it's thrown at them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's I think a fault in the story is that there's no consistency really.
Yep.
Yeah.
All like Cap's shield.
Well, and the other thing that I keep on bringing up is what happens if you turn on a lightsaber and drop it?
Yep.
Does it just go right through the planet? Because it can cut anything, right?
At some point, it may go through the planet, but at some point, it's still going to hit rock, and that rock is going to tear up the machine. There's going to be an outcropping where it eventually, hits something that pokes a button and turns it off.
Yeah.
Well, no, it would be that once it hits the magma, the
No.
components would melt, or once it gets sufficiently hot.
Yeah, but it's all right. So it creates a smooth surface, but the blade is usually slightly thinner than the actual saber, the mechanical saber part, right? At some point,
Sometimes,
that
not always.
most of the time,
Yeah, because like at least in terms of like how it looks, the blade is wider than the
no, it's thinner. It's usually thinner. It's so the kyber crystal is what focuses the blade, and that the saber part, and the saber has to, be housed in that kyber crystal, the beam, right?
Guy knows the name of the crystal. I don't know shit about Star Wars, my guy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, even if you drop it at some point, that it's going to be enough rock that wasn't sheared off completely, rubbing against it to push the button
and turn it off. Yeah,
exactly. It won't go through the planet because just by sheer happenstance, there's not going to be enough, smooth, complete drop surface to not fucking rub against it to go, okay, button press, I'm off, and it stops right there.
But this kind of reminds me of something that I saw someone say not terribly long ago, and it drove me up the wall, because they said that they're sick of only some characters have to be justified in the universe. And
that's not fucking
that
true.
Annoyed the hell out of me, because no, every character.
Well,
has to
I
be
mean, every
justified.
character should be developed in some sort of way.
Well, every character needs to be justified, to my mind. I'll
I
explain what I mean by justified. So, if you're writing a story that takes place in medieval England,
why is there a black man in medieval England?
if you have a white male peasant character, they're justified by the very setting, because a white male peasant in medieval England makes perfect sense.
Sure.
If you have a white male Sikh, that doesn't make any sense.
If you have a black character there, it makes no fucking sense.
I know what you're getting at. You're getting at Yasuke, right?
Well, that is not quite what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that every character needs to be justified by the narrative and setting. So if you want to have a black character in medieval England, you have to come up with one fucking good story in order to justify why he's there.
I mean, that's the major rub for Assassin's Creed Shadows is the fact that there is no justification for Yasuke. They look for any justification that any precedent that a black man existed in Japan in the feudal ages, and they found Yasuke, and they just said, "Oh, okay, we got a black guy.
He's a samurai now. No,
he's in it."
And again, if you look at the time period, how xenophobic the Japanese were, there would be no fucking way they'd give him a samurai title.
Well, no, not only that, is like, think about it this way, right? Like in that time, what was Yasuke at that, like
a slave?
Like the justification, he was a slave.
Yep.
He was absolutely a slave. He was a slave brought to Japan, and then Oda Nobunaga decided, oh, I'm gonna give you, Yeah, I'm not going to treat you like the white man treated you. I'm going to actually treat you like a real person. So
You're still just a sideshow to me. I'm gonna parade you out like a monkey. To dance.
I mean, you think about it at this point.
You got honorary human status.
Yeah, they didn't even want any outsider.
Yeah, no one who
They
wasn't
didn't want any
Japanese.
outsider.
Like
That's another thing.
Guns is what made the Japanese say, "Okay, fine, you can come aboard."
But that's another thing. Like again, he'd stand out like a fucking sore thumb in that land. There'd be no fucking way he could exist without people knowing about him.
Well, yeah, and not only that is that people would treat him like a pariah because he kind of is. I mean, he's not Japanese. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another issue you have to bring up. So other writers that are other historians of that time frame would have known about him because again, he's this this black man, skin as dark as coal. Let me write about it. It's like the whole how we know that Cleopatra wasn't fucking black. The other writers of that time that were documenting shit never made mention of her skin color. So we can reasonably assume she looked just like everybody fucking else.
Yes, she was just a really, really beautiful Egyptian. Yes, a North African.
Yeah.
Cleopatra would have looked like a Ptolemaic Egyptian, which means
a Greek
Egyptian, a Macedonian.
She was Grecian. I thought she was actually.
She was her
from the line of Ptolemy. She was.
Yeah,
she was Greek. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Macedonian Greek Egyptian.
Okay.
Essentially, let me break it down. When Alexander died and his kingdoms were split up between his when he died and his empire was divided among his most top generals, the Ptolemies got Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, Ptolemy.
Okay.
Ptolemy
I
a lot of that.
All of these things I didn't know about her.
Yeah.
I knew about her relationship with Mark Antony and stuff like that, but that's
Yeah. But
white man
doesn't with an ass.
But I'm just saying,
respecting Roman white man wouldn't want to tap that. I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying, again, other writers of that time period and that time frame would make mention of something that's significant.
Darker skinned, yeah, absolutely.
And Yasuke,
yeah, like most people were in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, but I bring that back to Yasuke. Historians of that period. So go ahead, Sanguine. Sorry.
You have to remember that Cleopatra had an asp that could kill.
But like I'm saying, if this person really existed, again, you got other historians who of Japan would write about him because again, he'd be something worth writing about.
Yeah, he would be. And again, there is historical context of Yasuke actually existing. I'm sure he did. Yep. But he was very much an in-house He
was a sideshow.
He was a curio.
He was in the castle for Oda Nobunaga. He didn't go out to war.
Yeah, he was a curio that Oda Nobunaga kept around.
Yeah, kept in the castle. And that's fine, but hold on to the history and actually properly represent it.
Yep.
Again, you could if he wasn't a main character. All right, so I've heard the original storyline was going to be a monk. Essentially, it was going to take place literally after the death of Nobunaga because he had a piece of Eden. He had the sword of Eden, which allowed him to unify Japan so quickly. That's how he defeated the Ashikaga shogunate. He had that piece of Eden. That's how he won. Right, so it was going to be that the assassin order at the time, I believe it was Satori Hanzo, was going to give this monk who swore war the sword and say, hey, look, we got to keep this shit safe from Mitsuhide because Mitsuhide was going to be the main villain, in one storyline. So it's going to be the monk, and the way it was supposed to work out was, he's going around doing this shit and he's coming back to the temple. Essentially restarting the assassin order in Japan. and
I'd be okay with
another
that. That would be really fucking cool.
Yeah,
and then another
especially
one would
if you made he wasn't at the right time, but if you made it so that the monk kind of had a figure that he looked up to in history, make it Benkei.
Yeah, it was something to that effect. But then another part, like one of the other rewrites was it was going to be a Musashi type character, slightly out of time, if you will, where because Musashi was like born like 20 fucking years after the events, but it was supposed to be essentially him, and because again, he's Japan's greatest fucking samurai. People would want to beat him, and it was essentially going to be the same premise except for his storyline was going to end with his duel with Kojiro.
See, the major thing that I keep going back to, for at least for an idea, is that you never used any of the, like, especially going back specifically with Assassin's Creed, you never used any of the historical characters as the character you're playing as.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody from the sideline.
Yeah, well, like the character that you play in the Roman one, I can't remember which one. Which number that was or whatever.
Are you talking about the Odyssey?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, is that one
where he was Greek and he was a Spartan?
Oh, he's Greek. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he was Roman. But like he does things like he meets Diogenes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's all sorts of these characters, but they're characters that he meets.
It's like in the second series where he meets you meet Leonardo da Vinci. You meet the Borgias are the main villains.
Yeah.
You know? You don't play as a Borgia, you play as someone who never existed in history.
Exactly.
Like
That's exactly it. It's like I don't understand the rationale now from them trying to justify that as the playable character. If they wanted to have Yasuke in the game, that's fine. But you don't have him be the main character, the one who's going to be the driving factor.
And there's
Yes.
a way that you can justify having
the first one, but originally it was you were somebody in like current day or the future.
Yeah.
And then you
go into the device.
The animus.
And you like live as one of your
through
ancestors.
Your DNA. So
Yeah.
you were initially supposed to be just an offshoot character that's witnessing the history.
I think they said that, like, at least in terms of like the advancement of the story, because that's still a thing. The whole like living
living memories,
putting the device on and living in the past.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is putting on the fucking headset and becoming Yasuke. Okay.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't.
I need to kill these Japanese people.
But no, the major thing that they did is that they made it so that you're not living as one of your ancestors. You can just choose someone in history to live as.
No, that's another problem, because when it was one of your ancestors, there was a reason why, because you're using the animus to live ancestral memories, and what's the word I'm looking for? There's a connection there.
Yeah. From what I remember, and I could be wrong, it's effectively that you needed the DNA in order to unlock the memory. And the way that they explained it later was they made a version of it that you can feed it DNA.
Yeah.
And then you can tap into the memories of
someone else.
Well, not even that.
Someone else. So they got the blood of someone else that's descended from them. Yeah. And that's how they're entering.
And then
you
don't have to have any familial relationship. You can the memories of someone else.
Hold on. Ryan Court bring up Black Flag. Black Flag, technically, they had Desmond's corpse, and that's how they were using like his ancestral memories. They still had his body because technically it got preserved.
Yep.
So for Black Flag, it's them. Black Flag and Rogue. It's them as a gaming company using you as the player character to go through the memories and find things, because it's essentially Abstergo is using that as a front.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again,
I remember that was like the meta plot of it. Yeah.
They developed a new variant of the machine that allowed them to stick you in someone else's as long as you had the material in order to
Desmond. Yeah.
Desmond.
Because that's what the
but-
whole plot of them trying to destroy, find Desmond's body to destroy it. Because they can't be using us.
Yep, and I think that's where they continued on with it, that it's functionally as long as you have a sufficient quantity of the other person that you're able to tap into their memories.
Rogue uses a different
I thought it
name.
was-
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was really funny because I've only ever played part of the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it was funny that one of the things that they justified in it is that if you killed someone who wasn't one of the targets,
You
right,
desynced.
it would like desync you from the machine.
Because he didn't kill that guy in
Because
this
you didn't kill that guy, yeah. And I thought it was really funny because there was a couple of times where I like ran around because it's an open world game. I can do whatever the fuck I want, right? So I just randomly started assaulting one person in the street.
But you know what I found funny? You know what I found funny though? If you kill a guard, it didn't desync you. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it was only the civilians and stuff like that. But yeah, I was so funny.
Clearly, he just went around murking
one guy
all the
in the
cars.
crowd. I'm all like,
Yeah, he
dude,
probably
and I
did.
started beating the shit out of him. But it would like the camera would auto snap to any threats that you have. And I remember I was like you, and I started beating the shit out of him, and the camera auto snapped over to a Templar that had seen me doing this, and I had gathered a crowd. There was just a crowd of people just watching me beat the shit out of this guy. I thought it was so funny.
Nice.
But yeah, if you want a game that was a good example of, in the narrative, justifying why someone who was not Japanese, who was in feudal Japan, the Neo games.
Which ones?
Yes.
The Neo games.
Neo games.
Okay. I know about them, but I never played them.
Yeah. NIOH. The idea is that you're a Englishman that becomes an adventurer because you had a family relation that found interesting shit in the Far East. And you go to kind of track that back down because another group of people are after the shit that your ancestor discovered. They want more of it, so they go to the Far East as well. So you end up in Japan after a shipwreck, and you're dealing with Japanese yokai and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
essentially, Japanese Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's Japanese Dark Souls.
Okay.
So it explains why you're there because, well, you had an ancestor that was an adventurer. They found this thing. You got imprisoned to get information out of you so that the people that wanted more of it could find it. You break free and you decide, fuck it, adventure time. That works in the narrative.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even really need a narrative. Because, I mean, like one game that I'm thinking of right now that I'm watching Adam play that doesn't really have a like a cohesive worldwide narrative, but has like representation of a whole bunch of different cultures and time periods all throughout the world. Fucking Soul Calibur.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a valid reason for that. Soul Calibur is a contest. Like the sword, Soul Calibur itself was shattered in fragments, and different people are wielding it, or they have different reasons for seeking that one blade. Like Mitsurugi is seeking the Soul Calibur that he wants a sword that can defeat any gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you know I'm playing as Mitsurugi?
Because I can hear
Mitsurugi
you.
is one of my favorite characters.
But you got someone like Setsuka who doesn't want the gun, want the sword. She wants to kill Mitsurugi. Well, Mitsurugi is looking for the sword. So if I find the sword, it says I'll find Mitsurugi. Or you got someone like Raphael.
There's no real terribly apparent reason why they need to be, it's the other thing, other than just the fact that they wanted to show off different like fighting styles, different.
But it makes sense though.
That's fine. That's
It works in both
to go, and that's not very deep. Okay.
It works in both narrative and in gameplay. The justification for why the characters are there.
Again, the sword, like the Soul Calibur itself.
Was people were saying that they were pissed off that only certain sorts of character need justification. What they meant by certain sorts of characters is that, well, apparently you need to justify when you have a American woman fighting on the Eastern Front of World War II. Yes, because
Yes, because they wouldn't have been there. They would never have been there. There would be no way. There's no fucking way we'd allow women to fight unless we were really down to like bare bones. I'm talking about it's down to the triage here.
Well, no,
if you know what that means.
Plenty of women that fought in the Eastern Front in World War II,
but not Americans.
They were called Russians.
Yeah, but they weren't Americans though.
They weren't American, and they also didn't have a prosthetic magic robot arm either.
Yeah, you could very easily, if you want to tell a World War II story where you have a female character as the protagonist,
the killer sniper chick from Russia. There it is, the confirmed sniper that got like a shit ton. She was killing motherfuckers left and right.
You can even justify a historical fiction story. That's fine, but don't try to sell it as this realistic war simulator.
Yep.
You know what? Another type of character I'm tired of fucking. Another thing I'm tired of. I'm tired of fucking wheelchairs and handicapped people and fucking D&D and fantasy and shit. Now, no, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like there are cool.
Castle Ravenloft is wheelchair accessible tier. Come on.
No, it pisses me off. All right, so hear me out. I played a blind character. The reason why I played a blind, because I wanted to play a blind archer who had because it was a magic, but like the subclass, super archer. Mm-hmm. I wanted to play a blind, canonically they're blind, and there was a reason to why they didn't heal their eyes, because they could have healed their eyes, because if they believed if they made a deal with their god, save my life. And I will, save my friend's life, and I will I will trade my life for theirs. The god only took their eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and not only that,
all you want
about it this way too is that at least in D&D, restoration is only priest magic. You cannot be an arcane caster and learn restoration.
Yeah.
So therefore, the god justification works.
Yeah, so
no divine entity is going to breach that contract that a mortal has made with another god, even if they hate that other god.
Yeah,
unless they really fucking hate that other god,
or they really want to piss that god off,
and that's not good. No one wants that.
Yeah, but
the focal point of a war between gods at that point.
Yeah, but you even got shit like one-armed fighters. Again, makes sense. There are one-armed warriors. However, a warrior that can't use his legs is pretty much fucking useless.
Yes.
Yeah.
A warrior with no arms, unless he's a caster, is fucking useless.
You could. I will say that there are ways that you could justify it narratively. So you have some ridiculous warrior that actually built up a reputation, and he reached a point where his legs got crippled, but he still continued to fight after the crippling until eventually the battle was over. So think a hero doing a last stand like Cuchulainn.
Okay.
So do you guys know who Cuchulainn was?
Cuchulainn,
yes. Yeah. So chained himself to a massive standing stone, continued fighting until he was dead. You have a hero.
Died on his feet.
Yep. You have a hero that did something like that, kind of like your character asking for a god to help them while they're doing so. And then they end up surviving the fight, but their legs are fucked. So what they do is they hire just a mook. That the mook all he does is he fucking carries him around on effectively a shield and he fights from that. That would be an interesting story. That's something that you could do. You have to justify it in a narrative, though.
And say there's even better ways to go about that, especially making it cooperative. Because then you could have a character of simple mind but strong body acts as your legs and carries you around in a basket.
Shit, or you could have a situation. Do you know who Village is from Warhammer Fantasy?
Who?
It's a Village. Sanguine. He's the Zinchian lord, and it's both him and his brother, and the brother was weak of body but strong of mind.
Yep. Kind of
All right.
fused into one. They have two heads, but one is actually functional. The other is simple.
Pretty much fucking useless. And Zinch fucks with him constantly and will switch who's in control.
Yep.
Well, my
I bring
favorite
that.
is, the two-headed greater demon.
No, he's not a great demon. He's actually a demon lord.
Oh, say Kairos Fate Weaver is a two-headed greater demon of Zinch. One of them can only see in the future. The other one can only see in the past.
No, that's not the one I'm talking. Their story is like there was two brothers who one was strong of body but weak of mind, and the other one was weak of mind but strong of body. And the father favored the stronger one because that's how their village was ran, and he beat mercilessly the one that was intelligent. So one day the weaker brother prayed to whoever would listen that he made him stronger, and Zinch answered, and Zinch said, "Okay, I'll make you as strong as your brother," and he fucking fused them.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, so now it's him being fused to his brother, casting his spell and moving with, but Zinch constantly fucks with him. So the brother, the smarter brother will be in control, say for 1,000, maybe 100, maybe even fucking 50 years. And then Zinch will go, okay, time's up, switches. And now the weaker mind brother is now in control of the body. Zinch is a motherfucking monster, but I bring that up to have something similar. You have two people playing one character essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you make it cooperative.
Yeah.
There's ways that you can justify that in narrative. The ways that don't work as well, crippled warriors are so common that we have battle wheelchairs. No. If you have a battle wheelchair in your game, that has to be fucking custom made.
Yep.
And it has to be fucking rare.
Yep.
Extremely.
It
Yeah.
isn't
Like-
something that you're going to find on a dungeon loot table. It's going to be something that your character, who was a ridiculous warrior and a smith, then got crippled, decided, fuck
I still want to fucking fight.
I'm making it.
But even then, it limits your character and what they can do. All right, again, I bring myself up. There was a D&D game where I wanted to play a centaur. She was going to be a druid, and the dungeon master said, "Okay, you can play her. However, there will be times where she can't go certain places because there will be steps, and horses can't fucking navigate steps."
Well, I was gonna say it's more complex than that. Even like anything that's sized for a human
It's not sized for her because she's a large creature.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, not only that is imagine a horse being in an inn. So you can't do that.
And again, and I realized like it would be more trouble playing her than it would be fun, you know, because I'd have to take all that shit into account. There would be times where I can't go in places because, again, like you said, human in centaur body.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be fucking worth it, you know. But he told me that shit up front, like, hey, dude. I'm not going to, sugarcoat my world because you want to play this character. This character is going to suffer. This character is going to be essentially crippled. There will be times where you can't play because, again, you can't go certain places.
Yep.
You'll
So
either
I've
have to
said that,
come up with something really fucking clever, like, oh, you want to spend one of your spells for polymorph self. Okay, you can do that.
Or use my. That's why I used the druid. And I assumed that you would use her druid abilities, but wild shape. You know, I'm a spider on someone's forehead.
You wild shape, you polymorph self, you alter self. Any of the spells that allow you to change how you look, or you shrink yourself, because shrink and enlarge are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use your spells or someone else's spells, or pay for someone else to use their spells for you.
Or get an artifact.
Yep. So that you can constantly scale to what is needed, rather than just being able to go about it.
Yes.
I've done that several times with the games that I've played or I've DM'd with people. if you play a monster character, expect villagers to treat you like a monster.
Makes sense.
So
I mean, if you're gonna come in town and you're gonna be a fucking Yanti, and people are gonna be fucking terrified.
well, I would say even things like a kobold.
Yeah.
Kobold
Shit,
or
a
goblin.
goblin.
What is the average villager's experience with a kobold or a goblin?
Not good.
Yeah.
Them coming into town and stealing all of their shit and setting villages on fire.
Well, depending on the setting too.
barns.
It depends on the setting too. Like if you got somewhere where goblins are common or a common race, makes sense. But if you got like some backwater hick village and their only interaction with goblins is like they've been stealing that fucking lettuce all fucking year.
Well, I would say that even play, like in settings where there's goblins are common, goblins are still a monster. They're still going to terrorize villages.
Yeah.
That is going to be the standard by which everyone is going to judge that race.
And what you could have is you could have it be over time your character is able to win over the villagers that you're dealing with. But then
Yes.
every time that you go to a different village, it's an
You gotta do
entirely
that shit
different
again.
ordeal.
Yes.
And also, it could be that you won over Village A. You then left. Village A just got attacked by a shit ton of goblins.
And they forgot who you were.
Oh yeah.
They either forgot who you were, or worse, because you won them over, because they started to think
They see themselves as weak for trusting you. Yeah.
they see themselves as weak for trusting you, or the village should have been able to defend itself, but because you convinced them that not all goblins are evil, they didn't seal their gates.
Yeah.
And now a bunch of like they lost a shit ton of their neighbors because of you.
Yep.
They're not happy and you're not welcome.
And I do that for anything too, also including like drow, especially drow.
Yes, because drow should be they're especially in setting because drow take slaves.
Yes.
So
They raid and take slaves. Yes.
so they see you coming. If you're a drow, they see you coming. They're going, holy shit! Like he's coming to steal. He's coming to stab somebody. There may be a shit ton of them around. Seal the gates.
Yep.
Expect to be treated like a pariah. Expect to have the guard constantly watching you.
Yep. If you're playing a monster race, then expect outright hostility.
Yeah, but that makes sense. But the battle wheelchair shit just off top, like there was a picture of a knight in the battle wheelchair, and I'm like, no, you would not be allowed to be in that order because you fucking can't do shit. Everybody else is riding on horseback, and you're trying to wheel your goddamn cart. You're trying to keep up.
The one thing that I keep talking about whenever the battle wheelchair comes up is there's this one image of Wolverine throwing Professor Xavier in his wheelchair down the stairs. And so the premise of it, or the setup is always like, what is Professor Xavier's weakness? And it shows, that panel. Stairs.
Shit! There's a picture.
That is, expect that treatment if you want to try and use a battle wheelchair in any game that I play.
But there's a picture of they point, one of the more recent one I'm saying was they point, like there's an old Chinese picture of a man in a wheelchair being pushed by a servant, and I had to explain to him that man's probably fucking rich,
yes,
and he's fucking lazy, but he can still walk.
On doing incredibly risky things.
Yeah, he can still fucking walk. He's just lazy.
And the one about the knight in the battle wheelchair makes the least fucking sense, because there were instances, not common instances, but there were instances where there are warriors that were crippled from the waist down. Do you know 100% of the time what they were?
What?
Mounted.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They literally strap themselves to their horse.
Yep. They would have a specially built saddle, and they would strap themselves onto that shit. And that's how they would fight. They would fight from horseback. They would be strapped in, so if they ever got ripped off that horse, they're fucked. but it allowed them to fight. I mean, shit. There's instances where we just strapped corpses on horses.
Yeah.
The most famous one, El fucking Cid.
Yes, we did strap Elsie. Goddamn, it terrified the entire fucking army.
Yep.
Like, cause they thought they killed him. Like, nope, motherfucker. And he like, please don't attack us. Please don't attack us. Please don't attack us.
A man that had several times been reported as being dead, riding out on a horse after you're 100% certain that this dude was fucking dead this time is terrifying, because now it's not, oh shit, he's just insanely durable. No. Now it's, they're fucking necromancers.
Yeah.
Or he's fucking immortal. But again,
Or even more horrifying is that they treat their dead with such disrespect.
Yeah, but even then, the back to the battle wheelchair and again, you're playing a fantasy game. Why would you now? Again, I bring up the blind example because that's a backstory thing. That helped flesh out the character, and okay, well, this character, wanted to save their friends so badly that they were going to lay down their life, and their God at this point in time was merciful, and all they took were their eyes. Okay.
And another good example of a crippled group that still had warriors, not of history, but in fantasy writing, because you brought up Warhammer Fantasy. Fucking Chaos Dwarves.
Shit! No! I got one better for you. They would the martyr. Were they the martyrs? They would strap ultramarines that were fucked up into like mech suits, like mobile coffins.
Are you talking about dreadnoughts?
Dreadnoughts, yeah, like they're essentially mobile coffins.
Yeah. Well,
that's in a high tech setting. I'm saying in a fantasy setting.
Sanguine's absolutely right. There's Chaos Dwarves in Warhammer Fantasy where he's like completely paralyzed from like the neck down, and he built him. He had a steam powered like mech suit that like acts as his body.
The only other the other lord for Chaos Dwarves and Warhammer 3. That's the one. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Him.
One of them's the Ashen, the other one I can't remember the name of.
I think the other, that's the, not. I don't think it's the Ashen. I think it's the other one.
Yeah, but
look it up.
You have that, and then if you're dealing in a fantasy setting,
you
wouldn't go for a wheelchair. You would go for, I made golem legs.
It could claw. It could claw's right hand or right arm is fucking gone, and he essentially has a mecha arm.
Well, think about it this way too. This is like fantasy, right? You can put in any sort of justification with magic that you want. You can say that you've had a necromantic graft and have, like fucking like
undead legs,
tiger legs strapped to your have your legs amputated, and they put like tiger legs on you.
Vanessa Salt Spike,
the golem legs. You could have all kinds of shit grafted onto you with that. Also, there's a god within the Irish mythology, the Tuatha De Danann.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Nuada Argetlam. Argetlam means silver arm. Care to guess how he got that name?
Lost his arm, made one of silver.
He has an arm that was cut off in a battle between him and I think it was the Fomorians. Mm-hmm. And two different Irish gods. After he lost his arm, he gave up the High King of the Tuatha De Danann, and it was given to Brett the Bastard, if I remember correctly. Brett the Bastard then enslaved all of the Tuatha De Danann to the Fomorians. Mm-hmm. And, it was Nuada lost his arm to Firbolg, not a Fomorian, I think. It could have been a Fomorian, but I think it was a Firbolg.
And it was Astragoth Iron Hand. That is the one that has
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
But Nuada lost his arm. Said, I can't be High King. I'm a cripple. Seated the High King. Went to Brett the Bastard. Brett the Bastard enslaved the Tuatha De Danann, started doing horrendous shit to them. And while that was happening, Nuada, who was living in exile, was contacted by Dean Kecht and by, I want to say it was Govnu, but it might have been Kretna. But I can't remember which one's the silver worker of the artisan sons. But he was contacted by the artisan son that was a silver worker, and by Dean Kecht, who's the god of medicine.
Horror movies watch.
The result was the silversmithing son, who I think is Govnu, but it might be Kredna, made a silver arm. Dean Kecht, the god of medicine, attached that silver arm and made it actually fucking work.
Okay.
So Nuada came back as Nuada or Getlam, became the High King again. You could have fucking magical silver arms.
Hell yeah. Vanessa, one of the Vampire Coast lords, is walking around on sawtooth on the tips of fucking sawtooth sharks' tips, like their bones. She's walking around on those. She had no fucking bottom legs. Got him bitten off.
Yep.
So there's
it can claw. I bring up Warhammer Fantasy.
It's awesome.
It can claw. You got motherfuckers that literally have a mechanized arm. You have not Belagor.
Yeah, and like in a sci-fi setting, there's absolutely no justification for it.
There's really no justification for you to be a crow because there are other ways to get around that shit.
Yeah.
There's no way, like,
fantasy.
when bionics are like so common within the Imperium, there's no reason for anyone to be in a wheelchair. Period.
Except if they're so fat they can't walk.
Well, or that or if you got like somebody who again, what? I lost my legs, but I'm still gonna fucking fight. They strap me in this metal fucking golem mech arm thing and let me fucking walk around. Like, do you want to get out? No, I'm good.
That even doesn't track either with you have the Space Marines with dreadnoughts, and then you also have things like the penitent engines and what's the other one? Mortifiers for the Sisters of Battle.
Yeah, I'm fucking terrified of mortifiers.
The mortifiers are essentially they're a fucking Iron Maiden where they just keep your body in this cage.
That's where you fucked up.
Like, neural implants and shit like that in your brain, and you pilot a mech suit that way.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. You fucked up. You need to repent.
Well, the penitent engines are worse because they just strap you to the front of it. They don't give a shit about your body. Mortifiers, at least, they have respect for your body, and they put you in an iron cage.
But yeah, it's in a sufficiently high fantasy setting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to have the.
Well, I mean, dude, it doesn't even need to be high fantasy. Warhammer is high fantasy. Warhammer is incredibly low fantasy, and we have fucking chaos orbs with full-on mech suits.
Yep, but I'm saying if you have a low fantasy where you don't have any magic, and it is just human ingenuity versus fucking ogres.
Yeah.
Then you have a reason why someone might go, you know what, I need a wheelchair. If you have the ability to do greater restoration, you don't have a reason for a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Shit, I got one better for you.
And then you're not going to see an adventurer ever get a wheelchair in even a low fantasy setting.
Yep.
You'll see much more of a much more like reasonable idea would be a Master Blaster scenario.
Or you wouldn't even see that. Like if you had a warrior in a wheelchair, he's a teacher now. He's not going out the fucking fight.
Yeah, he's not going
a
out
teacher.
in the field. Yeah.
Well, that was what I was just about to bring up. That you could.
Yeah.
Frog goes into the underground and you find a tank.
No, Master Blaster was in Mad Max 3.
Yeah, Master
Thunderdome. Yeah. The midget on the giant's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Master.
Who run Barter Town?
But it's one of those things that you would have them be trainers. So there's a series, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I want to say it's the Warded Man series, but I could be wrong on that, where there's demons are constantly attacking humans, and humans have formed up into these great cities, and each great city has a different tradition.
Mhm.
One of the great cities is a very Middle Eastern coded great city because they wear very like medieval Middle Eastern style clothing, and they kind of have the same martial forms as think like the Persians did, but they've specialized in they have a bunch of different types of warriors. They train up their warriors every night. They have this massive labyrinth that they go out and they hunt what they call the Alagai, the demonic beings.
Okay.
They can't really do any damage to them at the beginning of the series other than they can tie them up until the sun rises and then the demons die. So it is a suicide mission that they do wholeheartedly and excitedly.
Mhm.
One of the characters from that group is a ridiculously well-seasoned warrior
Master, the big
that
guy blaster.
lost one of his legs in an Alagai attack.
Mhm.
So
Ends up
he
killing
has a blade foot that's made for him.
He has
And
to-
he is no longer a frontline warrior. Now he's one of the instructors at the Martial Academy.
Yeah, again, that would make sense. You're not. There will be no way in hell they're gonna risk. Do you remember the scene in fucking 300 where they told the cripple like, "Yo, you can't join us. You can't hold the shield properly. You couldn't hold the line.
We gotta educate you. Those are great.
You know."
I just learned that Adam has never seen any of the Mad Max movies.
Heretic.
I know, heresy. Huh?
How the fuck have you not seen any of the Mad Max?
Well, any of them. Yeah, I mean, there's 5 of them now. Furiosa is okay. I found.
I don't count Furiosa because it's not Mad Max. It's fucking Furiosa, and Furiosa didn't need a fucking spinoff.
There's 4 good Mad Max, and then there's a 5th spinoff.
It's not that bad.
Well, you know what? I guess I'll watch the movies when you all figure out which one is the correct chronological.
Well, the big ones that you need to see.
Then you watch 2, then you watch 3.
Fury Road. Those are the 2 best.
No, the 2 best are Road Warrior because it's the first, and then
No, it's not.
Thunderdome.
No, it's not. Mad Max 1 was the first.
Yeah, you're right. Because Road Warrior had the Wild Child in it. You're right.
Well, Road Warrior is the sequel to Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the 2 best are Road Warrior and Fury Road. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm an apologist for Beyond Thunderdome, but people do not like Beyond Thunderdome.
I don't like Fury Road because, again, they kind of sidelined Max for Furiosa, and then essentially they fucking sidelined him in Furiosa.
Well, I mean, like, he's still a main character and a major character in Fury Road. The thing I didn't like about Fury Road was the fact that they destroyed the black on black.
Yeah.
They destroyed his car. I mean, come on, man.
That would make no fucking sense.
I say you can't destroy Max's car. That's like as much of a character as Max.
Yes.
In fact, actually, the game, which was a fantastic game, by the way, I loved it. There's a whole the whole driving factor is Max trying to get his car back. It's
nice.
great.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a series that you should watch. It's fantastic. It is cheese in the best possible way.
Some of it is cheese, some of it is like badass. Like, because Road Warrior is badass, Fury Road badass. The first one was weird because it's not really an apocalypse movie. And
it is, but it's not. It's the apocalypse had happened, but it's not really doing shit.
Well,
like
what it is that the first one is like the lead up to the apocalypse, because like they talk about things like gas shortages, because that was initially what it was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about a gas shortage, like that there wasn't enough petrol to go around the entire universe, or the entire planet. And then by the time they got to Beyond Thunderdome, they actually explained that it was not just a gas shortage, but they also had a nuclear apocalypse.
You know which fucking post-apocalyptic scenario I'd rather be in. I'd want to be in the Firebird 28 day.
28 days later.
No, it's a movie called Firebird 28 day.
Okay, I don't know that one.
It essentially all it is like they just started running out of gas, petrol, gas, or whatever, and the government shut down the roads and like made using cars legal, but everything else is fucking fine. There's no nuclear zones. There's no fucking irradiated hellscapes. Motherfucker, you just can't drive.
Yeah, you just can't drive anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That works. That's fucking. I can take that. That's a great post-apocalyptic scenario to live through. Life really didn't change. You just can't fucking drive, and gas is heavily regulated. So.
Like I can see a good use of that. Like it would be like steps backwards in time. Like you'd have the people that can't afford things like electric cars,
getting horses
and buggies. Yeah.
I mean, essentially, at one point, everybody had horses, and only the rich had cars. And now everybody has cars, but only the rich have horses. So I can see that flipping again. Only the rich have cars, while everybody else has horses.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting scenario for a story.
Yeah, that would be, wouldn't it? Everybody rolling around on horseback. We got the Wild West being the Wild West, and police having the old fashioned high speed chases. Here, Shed, pull your horse over.
So
You'll never catch me.
I missed nothing.
Nothing. Not really.
Just imagine. Just imagine like they throwing out spike strips, your horse trips, now you got to put it down.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that would be the fucked part.
Wait, so how many Mad Maxes are there? There are like 3 or
There's
4?
5.
There's 5. There's 4, but 5 exist. We don't count the 5th. We don't count the 5th.
There's 4 Mad Maxes. There's 5 movies set in the Mad Max universe.
There you go.
There you go. I like that one better. Sanguine.
So there's 5 Mad Maxes.
No.
5 Mad Max universe movies. Yes.
Yes.
Because Mad Max is a universe, not a character, not just a character.
But how many
Not
Mad Max
character,
movies
but
have Mad
when-
Max in it?
4.
4.
Well, no, 5. He's in the 5th one.
For a brief bit as a cameo.
But yeah.
How many is he the main character in? He's the main
4.
character in 4.
Well, he's the main character in actually 3 because he's not really the main character in Fury Road.
That's the number one.
I'd say he's a deuteragonist in that.
Only the main character in 3 of these movies?
Yeah.
I would say he's a deuteragonist in Fury Road.
Well, like he's the character that you follow from
He's
the
the point.
beginning to the end, but the story's not about him.
He's not the hero
Experiencing
in
the
this one.
story around him.
Honestly, everybody else has more cool moments than he
Well,
does.
Also, to be fair in that regard, then he's also not the main character in Road Warrior either.
It just pisses me off that he doesn't deliver the final blow to the main villain.
Oh, to or more.
Immortan Joe. Yeah, it's Furiosa. She gets the killing blow. Nux gets the cool the battle death that he takes out one of the big bad to get.
Well, I mean, like Max got his revenge. He kills Toe Cutter. Stuffs a grenade in his mouth and everything.
But again, he should have killed. All right, so if you're the main character, you should kill the big bad.
I disagree.
Yeah,
Name me one movie where,
like he didn't kill Humongous in Road Warrior.
all right, so
I
Do you
disagree that if you're the main character, you have to kill the big bad.
or at least you should have a fucking fight with the big bad where you come out on top, and then if someone's gonna kill him,
I
bam,
don't
there.
even agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, hold on. It would kind of make sense if it's like a
I don't think that's a hard and fast rule.
a hero story where at
Yeah.
least
No, well, the villain needs to die at the end of it.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
I got one,
it
but
doesn't necessarily have to be the hero that kills him. It could be a supporting character that kills him.
All right, I got one better for you. In Thunderdome, he doesn't kill Auntie M, but he fucks her plan up enough. Even though she gets what she wants, she doesn't kill Master. Master escapes.
Yeah.
So, but he sacrifices himself to achieve that victory. So in the end, he foils her plan. She lives, but she doesn't get what she wants, and she lets him go. Like, I don't have any more business with your ass. I have everything I want. You gotta walk the way, man. Aren't we a pair, Raggedy Man? Again. But he still deals a devastating blow to her, or at least fucks up her plans.
Well, the one that immediately comes to mind, for me at least, when it comes to the main character killing the bad guy or whatever, right? Gaunt's Ghosts. It's about Gaunt, Ibram Gaunt, 40K novel. The main character is Ibram Gaunt. But he doesn't kill the Anarch at the end of it. Scout Sergeant McCall kills him. And there's a whole story about one of the other characters feeling like he missed out on divine intervention because he wasn't the one that killed the Anarch.
Mm-hmm. All right,
well,
so
the character that kills him does it just come out of nowhere?
It's like there's a whole operation that includes a captured space marine and sabotaging an entire chaos facility, and the Anarch trying to escape, and only 2 of the main characters are able to follow him into this portal that he escapes to, and McCall is the one that ends up getting the kill. But the other one, his name is Bryn Milo. Milo was the one that believed that he was chosen by the Saint specifically because he was destined to kill the Anarch. And he was there, but he didn't get to kill it.
But it was a circumstantial.
It is. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that's one thing that McCall even tells him. McCall says, you were instrumental in bringing the Anarch down. Just because you didn't drive the blade into his eye socket doesn't mean that you weren't
any less important to his defeat
to the fight. But all this to say, Gaunt wasn't even there.
But again,
another example of a movie. Well, this one's going to be a movie that had a protagonist that did not kill the antagonist. It was other characters did it. Is the movie True Grit, the 1969 film. The main character is Maddie Ross, the girl. Who hires...
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Yeah, who hires Rooster Cogburn. She doesn't kill the guy that she's after.
I think it really just comes down to the fact that the protagonist needs to win at the end.
Yeah, the protagonist doesn't need to win at the end, nor does the protagonist need to kill or even fight the main antagonist, and that's why I'm bringing up Maddie Ross as an example, because Maddie Ross is the protagonist of True Grit.
Yeah.
Rooster Cogburn is a deuteragonist because he is also one of the main, or he's one of the main group. He's the secondary main character, but he is not the main character.
All right, but
he's the main character, and he's the one who has the fight. He's the one that wins.
But you gotta remember in that situation too. It is I'm gonna boil it down to its essence. A princess hiring a knight to fight on her behalf. That's essentially what it was.
And
so of course she's not
of the main character the main protagonist not being the one who wins.
Yeah,
just agreeing with my example and trying to come up with a justification for why that isn't quite so.
Well, I mean, anything other than a tragedy, I would say, the hard and fast rule is just that the protagonist needs to win.
Well, again, you have to win. It's some again for me, at least for me, in some things, if you set up the villain and you have the main character should at least at one point interact with the villain, even if it's a snarky call, if it's a terse letter, is something. He should interact because that's the main issue. If he does not, have you seen the movie After the End, After the Fall?
No.
It's a Microsoft, one of his only 2 movies, 3, Microsoft movie. The main villain in that one is the Urax leader. The main hero, Michael Sofsky's character, Parsifal, never interacts, never talks to, never even looks at the main villain. He's not even killed by he's not even killed by one of the heroes. He's killed by a subordinate.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Because to me, the hero doesn't need to defeat the bad guy, doesn't need to fight the bad guy. The hero needs to not lose.
Yeah.
Or rather, the win condition. Because again, I bring up Thunderdome. The win condition was everybody getting away. Max's life wasn't the win condition. Like him killing Annie M wasn't the win condition.
Yeah. He just needed to escape. He wanted to get the hell out. Yeah.
Yeah. That her dying or her death didn't fucking change anything. It wouldn't have fucking it's not the win condition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I think that the most important part is that the hero needs to not lose. Not that they need to win, they need to not lose.
And again, this is just like on a typical narrative, not even like, I brought up before, tragedies, all of the turn that entirely on its head.
This is
protagonist doesn't need to even win.
This is using the classical definition of a comedy.
Yeah.
But even then, like the hero does not losing is not necessarily not winning. Again, his win condition or a win, long as the win condition is achieved, it's still a victory, even if the hero dies.
Sure.
Les Miserables, right? Les Miserables. Braveheart, yeah. His win condition was to inspire his people to fight back.
Yep.
That was his win condition. His death, he won. He got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He died, but he still inspired his people to fight back. Les Miserables, again, he sacrifices himself for the people.
Mm-hmm.
His win condition was, sacrifice, giving his life for the people.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. The long as the win condition is achieved, death isn't a loss.
Yeah.
All that needed to happen was for Private Ryan to survive.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, then you have that weird ending part. Where he's
The Last Samurai.
And
The win condition of that movie.
Adam's currently saying something here.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
Go ahead, Adam. Because we were talking about.
Oh no, he was just bringing up the part at the end of Saving Private Ryan where he ages really quickly looking at the gravestone.
yeah.
I thought you were bringing up the part where he's wounded, just popping off shots at a tank, knowing he's not doing shit, but showing defiance.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But I bring up like The Last Samurai. The win condition for that those group of heroes was not life. Like they weren't trying to win. They were just trying to die on live if they die if they live. Keep their honor intact by going out as fucking samurai. That was the win condition.
Like I said, it comes down to not losing. And not losing changes depending on what
The narrative. Yeah.
The narrative, yeah.
But a win would be they win outright. So in Saving Private Ryan, a pure win for that group would have been they get Ryan out and everyone survives.
Yes, that would have been a pure win.
Didn't win, they just didn't lose. A win condition.
Wizard said, I find the sheer amount of people wearing nipple clamps in Mad Max 2 to be very disturbing. Just walk away.
Just walk away. Walk away.
Look,
Just
if
walk
you can't
away.
accept nipple clamps, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, who doesn't like nipple clamps? Let me take mine off.
But yeah, there's all kinds of different things that can happen in a narrative. And I don't agree that they have to fight the big bad. I don't agree that they even need to meet the big bad.
Fair enough. Listening to you kind of
Because
did change my perspective. All right.
technically-
I can see it.
If they were to meet the big bad in Saving Private Ryan, they would have had to meet Hitler.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like other ways to tell a story that don't necessarily have to in that sort of way, like have the characters win or whatever.
Yep.
And to me, again, it all comes down to the tragedy. Is the fact that like in my opinion, one of my favorite movies of all time is or my favorite movie of all time is Stranger Than Fiction.
Mhm.
And that whole movie is about the analysis of a tragedy. And like the very end scene where he talks about how Harold Crick saves a kid from getting hit by a bus, but then gets hit by a bus himself. He's like trying to live his life. He ends up saving someone else's life and dying. Like that, it doesn't feel good. It's not a feel good movie in that regard, but it makes you appreciate the things that you do for and help other people and help enrich your life.
Another good example is No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
Neither hero run into the villain.
In fact, actually, the entire movie is spent trying to avoid the villain.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
one of them is trying to stand and fight,
Yeah.
and he doesn't meet the villain. One of them is trying to avoid the villain. He doesn't meet the villain. And neither of them are the one who takes out the villain.
Yeah.
It is a story where there's nothing. Those characters are pretty much kept entirely separate throughout the entire fucking movie. And that's part of the thing that makes it as compelling as it is.
I hate to break this up, Sanguine, but I got work again.
Oh, yeah, shit. It is
Yeah, it is pretty late, man.
rather late. So, parting words?
Okay. If you're passionate about Sanguine, devour him. Don't let him devour you.
I'm hungry, and you cannot stop it.
You can't stop, right?
You can't stop me from eating you.
Adam and Inquisitor.
I would say find something that you like and try to analyze why you like it, and then you can have a better understanding of not only yourself but also be able to appreciate media or depreciate media a little bit more level-headedly.
Yeah, you might look at something that you enjoy and have to come up with the answer of, I have no fucking clue. It just makes your monkey brain go happy.
I look at stuff that I like and I still make fun of it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like I said, there's a chance that you might go, I have no fucking clue, but it makes monkey brain happy.
I like the way that this turned out. I asked to join up this morning. I wasn't expecting what we set out here, but I am. I think it worked out well. But thanks again, Sanguine, for letting me hang out with you.
It was a rare Friday that I had off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks again, Tyr, for the good conversations. I love y'all. God bless.
Oh, so, Adam, you're gonna be available to be on the show right tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Like the one that we're currently on, or
No. Midnight show, my show.
Oh, you doing one tonight?
Yeah.
I think by tonight he means Saturday night.
Saturday.
Saturday night. Okay. Yeah, because it is
Fucking
after
shit.
1.
Yeah, I was like,
I was like, what?
like,
Are you doing a stream immediately after this? What?
Hell no, I'm going to take my black ass to bed. I got work in the AM.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, like, dude,
they
I got
keep
my
the
porno
same.
all ready.
Yeah, it was
fucking
good. Yeah,
queued
got
up.
got the lube and the tissues here.
Yeah,
Man.
I was about ready to like quit.
Kick me out
You gotta
and-
get out of here, dude. I got some business to attend to.
Gotta check this toaster.
Yeah, well,
They keep the same definition of tonight as I do, Tier. It isn't tomorrow until you go to sleep.
Well, that's
Oh,
the what is it? Mega Dawn and like Super Evening or whatever it was. I don't remember. We that was like ancient Minions lore that Polly still holds on to.
fucking Polly.
Shit, technically, the sun doesn't rise till 12 noon for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Around 1 o'clock, it's already dark enough for that I can turn on my projector in my room.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty great.
do you have anything else as your parting words, Adam?
No, that's it.
Okay. I'll leave off with no soul gets as many chances to be brave as the coward, but the more times these chances are seized, the harder they are to find. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. And I click this, and it takes a couple seconds, but sucker!